quickly.
We got movement. And Oklahoma, three plays from Jordan Love and Jalen Green. And Jalen Green just goes cruise control. And it's walked into the end zone. Touchdown, Aggies.
Welcome back, college football fans, for another Top 25 breakdown. Today we have Utah State, another Mountain West team.
Back to back.
Yeah, back to back. Back to back. Mountain West teams. Obviously, Mountain West has done a pretty good job of getting teams into the Top 25. So, hey, that's a good job. So, last season they did a really good job, honestly.
Yeah, one of the best years they've had in a
while.
In a long time, I'd say. I don't think I've. In my time watching college football, I don't remember Utah State being this great. So
yeah, they've honestly never been that great, honestly. But then the last 4 to 5 years, they've been pretty decent.
They've been building.
Yeah,
they've been building.
Yeah. So when we look at their schedule, I mean, the first game of the season they played Michigan State.
They
might have lost, but
they shocked. They kind of surprised everybody when they came out.
Yeah, they did. They almost just beat Michigan State,
and it was at Michigan State. I remember watching that.
Yeah.
And I was out and about, but I saw that. I was so surprised about what was going on. I was really rooting for it because I love a nice underdog story, but I just couldn't. The stars didn't align that night, I guess. But
yeah,
it was a good game.
Although they did a really good job against Michigan State, and if that game went the other way, then you could see a Utah State team going 11 wins. Just because of all that confidence.
11 wins inside their regular season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that or maybe even if you beat Michigan State at Michigan State, you might even have that momentum to keep going on maybe the rest of the season. Go 12-0 in the regular season.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, they killed every team that they played. New Mexico State 60-13, Tennessee Tech 73-12. I know it is Tennessee Tech.
It's Tennessee Tech.
But I mean, if you look at it, They handled New Mexico, Hawaii.
They're not strangers to putting points on the board. I'll tell you that right. They're just not.
Their offense did an amazing job last year. Defense did a really good job.
Yep.
Especially with a young quarterback and a defensive that was very aggressive the entire year. They did a really good job. Last year they did a phenomenal job, and also beating a North Texas team that was pretty good as well.
Yeah.
So, and the only
especially with Mason Fine at the helm at that North Texas team, they went into that New Mexico Bowl just slapped.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a contest. It was nice practice day for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice
so I mean, they did a good job.
Yeah.
And then against Boise State, I mean, they might have lost, but they kept that game pretty close as well.
They did. Yep.
So, but I mean, so for the concerns for the 2019 season that we see, one thing that I noticed is they rehired Will Anderson again. And what's been known around college football is when a program rehires a coach again, for the second time, they'll have a little stint with the program. They'll leave, come back. They tend to not do as well their second time, just because I think there's something to it. But I know that their losses usually goes down to a couple.
It's a two, yeah. It's a two win loss margin, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
They lose out on 2 wins. Yeah. On their return.
So basically, what he I think what I saw was that he averaged while at like Utah State and Oregon State, or if you combine just his Utah State numbers, if he would have 8 wins, but you subtract those 2, he would have 6 wins. So, well, hopefully, I mean, he's the right guy for it, and but I mean, what do you think another concern for?
Another concern is that they're losing, I think, a large majority of the receiving core. So their receivers, they're all going to be brand new, fresh, young guys, inexperienced, and hopefully they can get a lot of reps this spring to help them start meshing with Jordan Love and the rest of the offense.
Yeah, I did see that too. Yeah, they are very. I would say very young and very inexperienced at wide receiver, especially because they lost 4 of their targets, and the only returner is their slot receiver. So but other than that, obviously, and also the fact that offensive line is going to be completely brand new, and also I would say linebackers are pretty young. And,
So they're missing out on, I think. the concern is going to be the offense. I think the overall one of the overall concerns is going to be their offense and their production, and because they're going to be so young and they're not going to have all of their offensive linemen protecting Jordan Love. So I think they're going to take a little dip. In their production. So
you could see that, especially with the receivers, brand new receivers. But so moving on to obviously we're talking about returning starters. Another one person to watch is David Woodward. He might be the best Group of 5 linebacker, and he was also rated as he was by Pro Football Focus an All-American.
All-American. Wow.
Yeah. So
I know he's complimented by I don't want to say this wrong. Tipa Galei. I'm sorry, he's a defensive end, as well as they also have a deep cornerback core.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be.
So not only does Utah State have one of the better quarterbacks in that conference, but they also have one of the better defenders,
one of the best linebackers in the.
Not only just like that conference, but in the country.
Among Group of 5 conferences. Yeah. So they have a lot of great leadership going into 2019.
Definitely great leadership. And I did see that. Tipa Galilei.
Yeah,
he's just as good.
I don't want to say that name wrong. I'm sorry. I had it in hand here.
Yeah, so obviously we mentioned a little bit of a couple of defensive guys, and for the strengths, I would say that defense is definitely one of the strengths. So the defense should be fantastic, if not the best in the Mountain West.
Aside from just trying to figure out the safety issue, their safeties, and just figuring out outside linebackers to complement David Woodward. So aside from that, those are I think the only concerns on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. I think they'll be solid up front. Defense is going to be very aggressive again.
Very stout.
I think they'll do all right. I think the main issue is just the offense, but I think that the strength of that team is going to be the defenses next year.
Absolutely. Just because of how much they're losing on offense.
Yeah. As
well as that they're not going to be able to protect Jordan Love as well as they did last year. Yeah, defense should be the better side of the ball.
Yeah. Obviously, so defense is the main strength. Do you have any other strengths that you would like to add?
The returning running back alongside Jordan Love. So it's going to be a nice 1-2 combo here with Gerald Bright. So at least they have, like I said, they have that great leadership with Jordan Love. They're going to have the returning starter for running back.
Right.
And then hopefully they're all going to be able to mesh this spring, or they already have, and they're really getting after it now. So, this summer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they should. I think that helps, especially with the inexperienced O-line, to have a running back that can actually make plays happen, and especially with a quarterback that can do that too. So, I think obviously one thing that we've noticed in the last couple teams that we've covered is weaknesses. Is mainly some of them have been O-line.
Yes,
that's like one of the biggest issues on just about. And I want to say all college football teams, but like it's always an issue or concern, especially in the collegiate level, because you got guys that are leaving, guys that are either out for injury or get injured, and it's different in the pros because they'll have them for next year or for several years. So I think offensive line this year for Utah State is a huge concern.
Yeah, just because I don't know Utah State as a great recruiting power in the Group of 5 conferences. So I don't think that it's going to be a hard turnaround here with having all these young guys, these young linemen having to mesh together and work together here. So it's just it's just one of the things that we have to wait and see if it's going to look good or not. So
yeah, one thing I do know is that Will Anderson, the head coach for the 2019 season, he knows how to recruit, especially for Utah State. That's when they started becoming pretty good. So I think he'll be able to get guys to come to Utah State, which is a program that not many people ever really think about.
Right.
Yeah. Especially, I think what he does really well is getting JUCOs and getting transfers and being able to look for hidden gems on the recruiting trail.
Okay. Yeah. So it's almost in a sense, it's gonna be corny here, but it's gonna be almost just like a last chance shoe kind of school.
I wouldn't say last chance Jewish, but I would say kind of like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's not like last chance U. Like I would say FAU, wherever Lane Kiffin's at.
Yeah.
That's FAU. Definitely more last chance U. But this is more like if you don't want to go FAU,
you come over to Utah State.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
So obviously we mentioned a little bit of O-line, and then another staying on offense. I do think that receiver is going to be another weakness.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Just because I think I already mentioned this. It's just they're just too young. They're going to be young. So.
Yeah. So I think that's So having two of your weaknesses on the same side of the ball is not a good thing.
Yeah.
And it could really lead to what's it called? Like not being successful on offense. Like I think like you said, your offense is gonna dip a little, especially on stats.
Yep.
And like how
stats, maybe even in the win column. You know, I just don't think they'll have those reliable guys to go to, or Jordan won't have those reliable guys to go to when it comes to crunch time. When it comes to when it comes to like the last play of the game, he's got to chuck it down. He's got to be able to have that assurance that this receiver is going to go up and get that ball from him. So.
Right. So obviously, let's look at their schedule for 2019.
Okay.
Their schedule for 2019, it's tough, dude.
It's tough for Utah State standards. Yes.
It's very, very tough.
It's tough. Yeah.
With trips to Wake Forest, LSU,
San Diego State,
Air Force, Fresno State, New Mexico. I mean, they have a pretty tough schedule. Let's be honest. Like it's an average team should do well, but I don't know, man.
This isn't, like I said, they're losing too much on the offensive side of the ball that they might get overpowered.
Yeah.
In a sense of like, they won't be able to put the same amount of points that they did last year on the board.
I think the biggest issue, or like the biggest game on their schedule is just that LSU game, because LSU is going to be good. Mm-hmm. It's going to be at LSU. Mm-hmm. I think that environment's going to be very shaky. Like it's going to shake a lot of those young guys. I think that game is going to be ugly.
They're not walking
out clean. I'm telling you that right
now. They're not even walking out. I think they're limping out of there.
It's gonna be a rough one.
It's gonna be a rough night for them. It's just matter of fact. It's you can't go to Death Valley and expect to be coming out there a winner, especially if you're not a power team.
Exactly. I think there's a potential for maybe upsetting, but I think that
it's so slim.
It's very
slim.
But I mean, I think if they get on the right track, I think they have games that they could win.
Absolutely.
They have games where they could actually compete in. I think last year they showed that they could still win games. This year it's like, can they match the same amount of wins, and can they improve on that? But obviously with games like at Wake Forest to start the season, that's going to be a tough one. Even if it's just Wake Forest, they're still going to be.
Wake Forest is also climbing too. They played Notre Dame well last year, so it's don't sleep on Wake Forest coming into next season. I'm not saying they're going to be amazing. I'm just going to say they're going to be pretty mediocre, at average at best. But you know, Wake Forest is a good team for Utah State, so it's not like Utah State's going to walk in and easily take the W.
Yeah. So like worst case scenario, what do you think? Like they go.
Worst case scenario is maybe a 6-6 team.
Okay.
7-5 team. Like,
oh really?
Like bowl eligibility is on the horizon. I think they can win some of these games. They might give Boise State a scare, but in our last video, I don't think they'll have enough firepower for that.
Yeah, I think my worst case scenario for Utah State was, I battled with that 6-6 like that record. Mm-hmm. I thought maybe yes, but looking further into the schedule, I think they'll go 5-7. I think they'll miss, like, worst case scenario.
So you think they're gonna get like beat up by the end of the schedule? They're like, we can't keep going no more, right?
I think this is a tough schedule. I think this is the toughest schedule for them.
Yep.
I do not think that they'll be able to match up well against some of these teams, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So I think defensively they'll be okay for most of the games, depending on like how well they play against Wake Forest. I don't know much of like if they'll be able to hold or contain the LSU offense, which is going to get better. So
they won't do that.
So I think just because the schedule is that tough, I think they will go 5-7. I think they'll miss a bowl this year, but that's okay because they're young. They're gonna have everybody back again for next year.
Yes, they will.
For the 2020 season, I think they'll be okay. But this year is just not gonna be their year.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit pretty well on 6-6. I think they're good enough to get back to a bowl. They'll surprise you with a couple wins that you weren't expecting. Maybe like at San Diego State, maybe at Fresno State, but even BYU. But I'm thinking they have their most important players back. That those players are gonna will them to some wins.
I will agree with that. So what do you think your most likely scenario would be?
Most likely, I'm thinking 8-4.
8-4?
8-4.
Yeah.
Just because I'm still banking off of Jordan Love. I'm still banking off of Gerald Bright. Those key leadership roles, especially even David Woodward. Those key players are gonna will this team to success and will this team to where they think they should be.
Right.
They're not gonna get back to their 11-2. That's what they were last year. 11-2 record. So 8-4, I think, is most likely going to happen.
I think I will agree with you. I think that they will. Most likely scenario is that they go 8-4, even with like the deficit at receiver, with the inexperience at receiver, and the offensive line. I do think that they will manage to still be able to put up points.
Yeah,
because I think that they're capable of doing it, especially with the quarterback that they have, the running back that they have. I think the coaching is going to make a difference. I think they'll be able to put up points.
You're hoping, especially with, that we know that statistically, returning head coaches get two less wins. So that 11-2 record is going to go down to hopefully a 9-2 or a 9 and whatever record, or an 8-4 record. So
right,
where your most likely scenario is an 8-4 in my eyes.
Yeah,
so.
I do think that they will have a tough time, but I think a good team will get those 8 wins, and they'll lose to obviously like the LSU's, the Wake Forest, maybe lose to Boise State and Fresno State, but I don't think they'll lose to Fresno State. So, what do you think the best case scenario was for?
Maybe a 9-3 season.
Really?
9-3 regular season. That's the best case scenario, and that's them sneaking a win against Fresno State, sneaking a win maybe against Boise State. They do host Boise State.
Yeah, they do.
Maybe sneak that one. I did say that Boise State might drop that one just because they're already on a high of like, oh, at that point Boise State may be undefeated, and they're looking ahead at the bigger picture, and they might drop it just because they're not at home, or they're thinking of different things. But they're gonna sneak a win that nobody's really expecting, and I think that's the best case scenario, 9-3 season, which is still a commendable season. That's still,
especially with losses just to what it will be Wake Forest or LSU, and who do you think they lose to?
Most likely, I'm thinking they lose to either Boise State or BYU. I'm thinking they secure.
You're giving a lot of praise to BYU. You said that about last week on last video.
I'm thinking BYU might surprise you this season, but that's gonna be a different topic. That's gonna have to be a different topic. I'm thinking BYU with that young quarterback. I watched highlights of that young quarterback, and he's fun to watch.
I feel like you said this about Wyoming last year with was it 2 years ago?
It was a couple years ago with Josh Allen.
Yeah, you said, what did you say?
I said Josh Allen for Heisman. I was so hey, listen, I bought in. I bought the ticket. I got it. I got on the ride. I was with Josh Allen on this roller coaster to the Heisman. He went like 7-6 in his last year.
Yeah,
not great.
Something like that. Yeah.
Not great. But his junior year though, he went like 10 wins, or sophomore year, whatever it was before he took off for the league.
I gave you some pushback, and I was right for it because he was not gonna win the Heisman.
Hey, first round draft pick. So yeah, I'm not.
Or whatever. So for my best case scenario, I have them going 10-2. I think they lose to
10-2. Wow.
Yeah, I think they lose to just LSU and Wake Forest, and maybe honestly they could just beat Wake Forest and then just like drop one to probably like
Boise State. Maybe.
Boise State or
Fresno State.
Yeah, Fresno State. So depending on one of those 3 teams, I do think that they will get those 10 wins. But I do see a 9-3 or a 10-2 very likely for like a best case scenario for like if everything goes right, if they fix the receiver, or like a receiver emerges as a top target for them, they'll be fine.
Probably gonna be that slot receiver, that returning slot receiver. That's a lot of praise you're giving them. I think it's a little too much praise.
I think when you have the right quarterback, the right running back, defense, a strong defense, I think that sets up a formula for having
a successful year.
Successful year. Even if you have some losses at receiver and losses at the O-line, I think a good quarterback will make up for that, especially how they play or manage the game.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll just have to wait and see, really. I'm thinking 8-4 is all they got in them.
We'll see.
8-4 is all they got.
But thanks, guys, for watching this video. Obviously, if you liked it, give us a like, subscribe, because it helps us out.
Yep.
Also, we will be dropping, what was it, Northwestern on Saturday, so watch that shit.
Yep.
See you guys.